Sons of Kryos. I am Jeff.
And I'm Judd. And this is our second podcast, I guess you'd call it. And this one we are talking about GenCon. And we're going to talk about last year's GenCon and what we had fun with and how it affected our year's gaming.
And a little bit of our hopes for this year's GenCon.
Absolutely. This year, we had such a good time last year, and we blabbed about it to everybody so much that two more gamers are coming with us and rooming and us cramming into a hotel room in Indianapolis. That should be fun. The more the merrier and all that.
I hope that they're okay with sleeping on the floor.
Absolutely. Any gamer worth his salt is okay for sleeping on the floor for 4 days at GenCon.
Well, actually, since GenCon goes 24 hours a day, you could technically go for quite a while without even needing to sleep, and it wouldn't really be too big of an issue, I guess, if you're really that hardcore.
That is very true. And, people do that. They get hopped up on caffeine and they just go. But
wow. I'm not one of them.
No, I'm a decade ago, maybe I would have done that. But
maybe.
I need my 8 hours now, or at least 5. Just give me my 5.
So, let's talk a little bit about our trip last year, Judd.
Absolutely. Last year we drove through the night, me, Jeff, and JJ, who unfortunately couldn't be here. And we drove from Ithaca, New York to Indianapolis. And it was about 12 hours, 14 hours in the car?
Somewhere between 12 and 14, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what.
We gabbed the whole way there, stuffed to the roof with food. JJ's family are all hunters, so we had a cooler full of deer meat and biscuits and just fantastic stuff. It was really good. I think I ate better at GenCon than I do at home, generally.
I think his mom's biscuits were the best thing I ate on that entire trip.
Absolutely.
That was awesome of her to do that for us.
It was very nice. When we didn't send her a thank you note, we're going to have to do that this year. I even got the...
Yeah, we definitely have to do that.
And it saved money on food too. That was the other nice thing about bringing our own food, is that it really did make the trip much more economical. If you think about how much you would spend going out, it just saved a ton of money. So we spent about $25 per person before we got there, chipped in for a $75 pot, and JJ just went crazy buying food. And it was good. We
did get a few odd stares or glances while we were eating our food from the cooler in the back of the vehicle in the parking lot.
It was awesome. We had a little geek tailgate party, and that was fantastic.
It was a geek tailgate party,
but it was good. It got us out of the crowds.
Yeah,
let us sit and chill and talk about what we were seeing, what we were doing, and because a lot of times we were splitting up and going our own separate ways. So this way we could kind of come together and talk about how our day was going. It was nice. It was a nice way to connect. It was nice just sharing a meal with your buddies.
It gave us it did give us a really nice base of operations as well.
Yeah.
And the food was it was excellent.
Oh, absolutely.
JJ went all out for us.
You can't beat it when you have, sandwiches of garlic basted venison. It was amazing.
Yeah. Now, Judd, this was your second time at GenCon, right?
Yes, I went once 10 years ago. I think it was 1994.
Wow.
And just to date it, the game Cinnabar had just come out. That was a big new game at last GenCon. Now it's kind of the specter of it's the, I don't even know what to call it at RPG.net. It is a name that is said with some derision. But yeah, that came out. I don't remember exactly what else was all coming out at that point. I think the great flop Dragon. No, not Dragon. Dragon Dice probably didn't come out then. But it was a long time ago. Magic was just starting, and I remember a lot of tension because these kids were sitting in the hallway. They didn't have a place to play Magic yet, so they were just clogging up the halls playing this new game, this new hot game. And you could probably get a young child for some of the cards, like the Black Lotus, the Black Lotus card, or the Black I forget what they're called.
Oh my goodness!
But this was right at the height of the Magic craze, and my friends sold Magic cards for insane amounts of money. So it was just at the beginning of the Magic Gathering phase, and it was
that's amazing.
It was neat. It was a neat time.
So last year was my first GenCon, as you know, and I got some really interesting perspective, I think, from going to... That was actually my first con.
Wow.
Yeah. So, started off with the biggest one.
Absolutely.
And I certainly had a blast. We did a lot of stuff while we were there.
Anything stand out to you?
I think it was the dealers area.
Right.
Overwhelmed me.
Absolutely.
There was so much there just to walk around and talk to people and check out their games. And JJ, who was with us, it was his first time at GenCon as well.
It was also his first time in a big city. I mean,
that's true.
Indianapolis is probably the biggest city he'd ever been to. He's a country boy.
Yeah.
And that was neat. JJ was willing to go up to anybody and just say, "Hey, I'm JJ. I'm from Dryden, New York. Where are you from?" And it really broke the ice with a lot of people. It was nice.
He was definitely in awe of the dealers area, just like myself.
Yeah, he was.
But that is actually one of the biggest reasons why I'm interested in going to GenCon this year, was because of that. That there was so much to see there that I could go back this year expecting to see lots of things that are new and exciting.
I find I don't do as much gaming at GenCon as I do at other cons. Like, I went to DexCon a couple weeks ago, and I gamed for 8 to 12 hours a day. But at GenCon, there's so many other things to do. You can go to seminars. There's just so many other things to do that it's just really nice. You don't have to game. Gaming isn't the only option. And you mentioned that I've been to the GenCon 10 years ago. The other big change that I've noticed in GenCon over that decade is that there are many more women at the con.
Really?
And they're not just there on the arms of their geek boyfriends staring at everything in horror. They're there on their own. They're geeks. They're gals.
So
they're
that look
there.
just doesn't happen at everyone, then?
No. That look can happen from it. You never know where it's going to happen. But it was nice. I think women are more integrated in the hobby in the last 10 years than they were when I first started, which is neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I actually recall that one of the games that you played in, and I kind of sat around and checked out the book and watched, was run by
was June by a woman.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, and
Fireborn.
Yep. And she was pretty cool, and that is awesome to see more women involved in the gaming area. There were some other things that happened last year that were really cool too. One of them was the D&D, was it
30th anniversary.
Yeah. They had a big party, and it was all over the place. They had D&D posters hung everywhere. It was a big part of it. When we went to the party, they were handing out T-shirts and cups.
I still have those cups. Yeah, the D&D emblem is washing off of them. I'm sorry to say.
Oh no!
Yeah,
it's too bad.
That's life. And I actually got the D&D 30th anniversary poster, and I gave it to Odyssey Games. To put
nice!
Up. Yeah, I hope they put it up. It's pretty cool.
That party though, that was pretty neat.
It was cool.
It was big. It was a lot bigger than I expected. There were so many people there.
That's a lot of geeks. It's like 20,000 geeks all in one, on one city. So if you're going to have a party, it has to be big.
Yeah, the dancing was fun.
Yeah,
it was certainly interesting. And they had a section over in the back where there were some boffer fighting going on.
Really?
I don't know if they were exactly involved with any specific LARP.
It might have just been a bunch of boffer people who grabbed the...
I didn't talk to them, but I know they had some sort of little fight scene thing they were doing over back in the corner. It looked interesting.
I noticed a lot of people with boffers that they had bought at the con in the park in front of the convention center, wailing away at each other.
I saw a lot of the boffers that they had at the booths in GenCon.
You and JJ didn't seem too impressed.
Yeah, I was not. I've been LARPing for quite a while now, probably 10 years or so, and the weapons that they had there did not impress me at all. Maybe I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to the boffer weapons, but yeah, I was not impressed with them, and actually they kind of looked a little mediocre.
Okay.
Hope I don't offend anyone by that. But
you didn't buy them. That's okay.
Yeah,
you're allowed.
A couple of other important things happened. One was a release of a book that you had.
Yeah, I helped write a book, which was really neat. I got my first professional writing gig, and I wrote 20,000 some odd words about elves, that went into the Fury of Shadow box set, and it was cool. It was also cool just to be contributing to a box set, because they're so rare nowadays. And that's how we got our little gaming worlds when I was growing up. So it was cool to just be contributing to a box set now in this day and age, and to have my name inside the cover. And I got to work with Ian and Eric, who were very forgiving and lovely editors. And they put up with my time crunch, because I was asked into the project late because somebody backed out. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I never want to write another word about an elf ever again in my life. But other than that, it was a good time.
Well, you certainly must have been a fan of elves before.
Not particularly. I was a fan of the midnight setting, and the reason why I got that gig is because I ran a game with JJ, and I wrote a story hour about it, and those guys had read it. As a matter of fact, I think Eric had gotten into Midnight because he read read what I had written, which is very flattering. It's nice. So they knew I could write, and they came to me and asked. And it was very nice. It was cool. It was a really, really fun experience.
Now, you mentioned Ian and Eric, and they were... How were they involved with
They were the head... Let me see. Hold on. I've got the book right here. So let's just not... They were the lead writing and development people. Ian Brogan and Eric Olson.
Right. And these two guys, you and I actually ended up playing in a Burning Wheel game.
Yeah, we got to play in The Gift, which is one of Luke's flagship con scenarios, where there are 4 elves on one side of the table and 4 dwarves on the other, and you kind of work out the conflict or don't. And
they played elves, and we played dwarves.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They were excellent role players.
Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever been in a better game at a con. I haven't been a whole lot of them, but I've been to a few now, and it was awesome. They were fun.
It was great. It was really great.
And it really actually got me into Burning Wheel more than anything else, I think.
Luke's con scenarios are pretty amazing. And it's also in that they really changed the way that I set up my one-shot games, in that instead of taking a lot of time figuring out what's going to happen in the game, he takes a lot of time setting up the characters so that when the game starts and you've read your character and you read what's going to happen, you read how your character feels, and you decide how you're going to play that, they're ready to roll. They just go.
Wow.
And it's cool. It's a great way to set up a game. I've used it a number of times. And we played again with Luke.
Yeah.
So we played first in The Gift, and then we played, which is elves and dwarves kind of coming to a clash. And then we played in Poisonous Ambition, which is a cool little scenario. I don't know if Luke's ever going to run that one again. I hope it goes up on the website as a free download.
And that was the one with all the orcs and
baby,
goblins and night seekers, they call them.
Yeah.
We played that in that game with 13 people.
I've seen him run con scenarios with 19.
That was an awesome game. We had people
cool.
running around everywhere,
yep.
And he just kind of stepped in once in a while to take care of system stuff, but most of the time we were just role playing with each other,
yeah.
And it was awesome. There were some great role players in that as well.
Yep. And we played goblins in that one. You and I were just because we were really high ranking dwarves in the game before, so Luke said, "All right, I want you guys to play goblins in this." But it was cool because even as a goblin, I really got to make my mark on the game, which is neat.
Really? We really did.
That was cool.
It really kind of got me into the idea that, the little puny races or goblins or whatever in various settings have more to do in a game than you normally think.
Absolutely. And that game, those 2 games in particular, were pivotal in me running the series of Burning Wheel revised one-shots that I've run over the past couple of months. Just the way that I set them up, and the way, just thinking about the theme of this show, which is how you come to GenCon and you take away things to bring home to your own home table. And what I took away from that GenCon, other than a few choice games, was the idea that you can set up these games so they're just, once the players get to the table and they look at their character sheets, it just goes.
Yeah.
And the one-shots that I've run with Burning Wheel, you've been in a number of them, they've all been set up with that idea of the players. It's a lot of player versus player action. And it's not it's not a heavy amount of DMing. It's more, handing out the biscuits when the players do something cool that drives the game forward, which in Burning Wheel is called Artha, and getting the game to move. So it was cool. It's a neat way to. I really like that way of running one shots. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for me to play in the Burning Wheel one shots, and it's certainly had an influence on my gaming.
Nice. And you went to church last year. You and JJ went to church.
Yeah, we did.
I slept in, but being the resident token Jew of the group. But you guys went to church. I almost really, if I had gotten better sleep, I would have gone out of sheer curiosity. You want to tell what that was like? What was gamer church like?
Honestly, that's why I went. Being somewhat religious, I thought, wow, religious gamers at church.
Right.
This doesn't mix,
right.
What the heck?
Right.
So I was interested, and JJ and I decided to check it out, and I would say that there were probably maybe like 20 to 30 of us, which may be a lot. I'm not sure. And there was a little service.
I mean, what time of day was it? It was what time?
It was the morning. I think it was like around
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So getting 30 gamers up at Sunday morning at GenCon is pretty good. I mean, that's cruising. I mean, I know that's 30 out of 20,000 people.
Right.
But still, that's Sunday morning. People are ragged by Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. That's
and
pretty good.
They had coffee there too.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, it was really interesting. Everybody was really open-minded, really polite. And the guy who gave the service he was really nice, and people brought up gaming issues with their own church groups and things like that. And it was neat to see the perspective of other gamers who are involved with the church and try and use their gaming somehow in that church.
It's such a community builder. I mean, I remember. Here's my gaming religious story. I lived with a very observant Jew a few years ago, and I was showing him around town, and I would introduce him to people, and I would say, he would say, "How do you know that guy?" Because they were all these very different types of people, and every time he asked me, "How do you know that guy?" I would say, "Gaming." "Oh, how do you know this guy?" "Gaming." And he said something very interesting, and I think he meant it as an insult, but I didn't take it as such. And he did not approve of the fact that I was not religious. And he whoop, is that my cell phone? Ignore. Sorry.
We'll get back to you later. Sorry, whoever you are.
So he didn't dig my lifestyle, and that's life. I really could care less. But what was interesting about what he said is, when I introduced him to all of these gamers, he said, it's a really interesting community of people you've gathered around yourself. And what he meant was an interesting community of people who you've gathered instead of going to temple. And I thought that was interesting, that these are the people who I get together to tell stories with. And I don't know, I thought that was really interesting. I wonder about the link in my life between gaming and religion. I just found that whole thing kind of interesting. So I think it's neat to see people who are religious and in their religious communities thinking about ways to make it work. That's really cool. Ways to use gaming as a community builder, as we know it can be used.
Yeah, I mean it certainly builds. I don't know if I want to say strong relationships, but maybe even that, because a lot of my friends that I have here, and even friends that I have in other cities from living in different places, and I still stay in contact with them. Our big thing together was gaming.
Absolutely.
And we still talk about gaming.
Right. I mean, there are people who get absolutely. It's interesting.
So let's get back onto the GenCon.
Okay.
Last GenCon a little bit. There was also some other things that we all were involved in.
Such as?
There was the there was the new vampire system release.
Right, we went to that party.
And they had a release party, goth party that was...
At a little happening club, yeah.
We actually ended up getting there pretty late. We got lost, I think it was.
Yeah, we did get pretty lost.
And
we were tired. We were pretty tired at that point. And we found the White Wolf staff, I think it was the FASA staff, playing dodgeball in the parking lot.
Yeah, as we came up, yep.
It was pretty wild.
And there was a man with a kilt there.
There was a man with a kilt playing dodgeball, and we saw his genitals, which was different. Yeah. He's playing dodgeball, and somebody threw the ball at him. And he
dodged.
He dodged. Bless his whatever. Bless his kilt.
I don't remember if he actually dodged the ball, but...
We got an eyeful. Yeah. That's really... And, and of course we went in and there were, ladies dancing in cages and people looking at their brand new World of Darkness books and reading them by whatever light they could find in the club. And, yeah, it wasn't that bad.
No, there were some very nice dressed people there as well.
Yeah, they were all gothed out.
Yeah, and that's cool. Once in a while, definitely. Gotta do that once in a while. But honestly, though, I didn't feel much of a vampire World of Darkness theme there.
No?
I mean, I know it was their release party, but I figured there would be like some posters around. No.
I think the club was vampy enough. Don't you think?
I think it was goth.
Goth?
I think it was definitely goth club, but it didn't... I mean, I've been to some goth clubs before, and that club wasn't even, like, huge goth.
Right.
And this was... I expected more vampire, more World of Darkness stuff, and I didn't get that feeling.
I don't know. I got to drink a beer and talk to geeks, and there were girls dancing in cages. I don't know what else you want, Jeff. I think you're too picky.
More fangs.
You wanted a girl in a goblin mask. That's what you wanted.
No, more fangs. A girl with fangs. That would have been good. Maybe they were there.
Maybe we just didn't see them. All right.
Could be.
JJ was on the prowl at GenCon. Holy cow. Because Jeff is married and I'm dating someone, so we're not looking. But, I mean, we're looking, but we're not, like, looking with a capital L. And JJ was looking. And
we were observing.
Interesting. We were observing. He was on the prowl. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I wish he was here to talk about it.
Well, there's a lot of booth girls there.
Well, there were booth girls, but just like normal Jane girls out there gaming. He was definitely looking. So that was just interesting. It's interesting that there were enough girls for him to be looking. Very cool.
We also went to a LARP seminar while we were there.
Well, you and JJ, I think.
Yep. JJ and I went to that.
Was that Norwegian? Oh, maybe I did go to that.
You did go, yeah.
I did go to that. I didn't have anything planned. I went with you to the Norwegian.
It was interesting to see LARP perspectives from different countries.
Right.
But I didn't really grasp anything major there, new. It really just seemed that the people that were involved in this particular LARP, and I cannot remember the name of it, they were more into it. They were more involved. And that's really awesome. But I didn't see anything that...
I think the interesting thing about it was that the expectations were a little different.
Yeah.
There was more player proactivity because for whatever reason, the players in that LARP were more invested in it than the players that you and JJ were used to dealing with here in Ithaca. So that was interesting.
There was actually one letdown I had at GenCon.
What was that?
I went there expecting to see the Army of Darkness RPG show up.
Yeah, it didn't.
And it didn't.
You have your own little... You came home and you were so pumped to run an Army of Darkness game that you ran one anyway at the game club. At the Game Club.
I used the White Wolf system and, made a few home rules.
What were your house rules to make it Army of Darknessy?
One of them was that players had a skill that was Groove, it was called, and they could use this dice pool at certain times when they were trying to do something a bit extraordinary or extravagant. But in order for them to have access to their Groove dice pool, they had to have a liner. They had to have a one-liner, some corny, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead line.
Right, like Hail to the King, maybe.
Right,
That's
exactly.
awesome. That gives it... So that, therefore, they get more dice for saying those corny things that makes Army of Darkness Army of Darkness.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
I hope when the Army of Darkness game comes out, they have something like that, so that it's... I mean, otherwise I'm going to be disappointed now.
I couldn't imagine that they wouldn't have something like that. I mean, It's such a part of the movies and the theme.
Right.
So...
I think the big thing... My big acquisition for last year was Dogs in the Vineyard. That's the big game I picked up that really rocked my world. I mean, it was the first game I bought. I walked up to the Forge booth. Vincent was there to pitch it to me. He set me on the demo. I bought it right there on the spot.
Wow.
And that game absolutely rocked my world this year. I've run it. I have no idea how many times I've run it. I've run it a lot.
Yeah.
I've run it at cons. I've run it for Get Your Geekonathon, and that game does not stop rocking my world. And I'm getting a better and better grasp of how to run it, and it's just fantastic.
I played
really
in one game with you at Get Your Geekonathon,
right.
and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it so much that I'm going to buy it this year when we go to GenCon.
Right, because there is a revised edition coming out with some more pictures, and I think it's a bigger edition. I can't wait. I can't wait to pick it up.
Awesome. So we'll both be there at the Forge booth to pick that up.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're going to GenCon Future. We're still on GenCon Past. Anything else about last year that you really want to talk about before we talk about this coming up year and what we're psyched about?
No, not that I can think of.
The other thing that we did after this past Gen Con, which I wish we had time to do again, is we started a Tuesday night game group. And the whole point of this game group was to play the games that we bought at Gen Con. And every week we would, a different person would GM, and we would run through a game that we had bought at Gen Con, or just a game that we had in our closet that we wanted to take out for a spin. I think Jeff took out the Lord of the Rings game by Decipher, which I didn't really like.
Yeah. Well,
and I mean, I liked your game, but I didn't like their take on Lord of the Rings particularly at all.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Burning Wheel does it better.
Yeah, but. Well, whatever. I guess I'm biased. And what else did we play? We played Primetime Adventures, which was pretty good.
We played Elves.
How
can you forget that one?
I think I'm trying to forget. That was really disturbing. It brings out the, potty-mouthed fourth grader in everyone. Anyone who thinks, Ron Edwards is stuck up or a snob or whatever.
You need to try that game.
You need to try Elves, because it's just a potty-mouthed game.
It brings a whole new dimension to tabletop role-playing that you just, wow.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine, really.
I think that game ended with one of our player characters
defecating is what you're going to say?
Defecating on a prominent NPC.
It was your character.
Really?
Yes.
All right. I think that's a whole podcast in and of itself.
Blacked that one out, didn't we?
I did. I can't believe that I was so...
I can't blame you.
So wrong.
So we'll move on.
Yeah. So we want to talk about this coming year's Gen Con?
Yeah, let's talk about this year's Gen Con.
What are you looking forward to, Jeff?
Wow.
The costume contest.
Are
you going to do it? I got a note from your wife. She walked by me and she said, "Remind Jeff about the Captain Hook costume," because Julie has slaved for uncounted hours to make him this amazing costume, and now he's kind of wimping out on whether or not he's gonna.
It's an amazing costume, but I'm intimidated. I'm intimidated by the costume contest because I've never seen it.
Right.
I would love to find a video online, and maybe I should look for that.
Maybe
a video online of the costume contest because I've never seen it. And from what I heard, again, this is total hearsay, that there's a little bit of a stage walk and some music, and you kind of have to do your thing.
Right.
And
last year, the guy who was the grand champion was Captain Jack
Sparrow. Yeah.
Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, and that guy was in character all weekend. Whenever you saw him in costume, he was in character. He was acting like he was drunk on rum. He was fantastic.
He might have been drunk on rum.
Because there was another guy who was a kind of a medieval cat man. And he had the eye pieces in, he had the slits for eyes, and he had a mane, and he had a twitching tail, and he was incredible, but he didn't walk like a cat man. He just kind of ambled along like he was just some gamer dude in a costume. And I think Captain Jack won it just from being in character and just rocking everyone's world when he walked up the catwalk. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
there were a lot of great costumes there. So I don't know. I'm going to bring the costume and I'm going to wear it.
Okay, that
is for sure. Maybe I'll even go to some of the booths that have pirate games and see if they want me to stand in front of their booth or something. I don't know, but I can't promise about the costume contest.
All right.
Maybe if I get drunk beforehand or something.
Awesome.
Who knows?
We can definitely set that up. Being drunk at Gen Con has a long and storied tradition, I believe.
So, what are you looking forward to, John?
There's a bunch of games coming out that I'm really looking forward to. Most of which are out of the Forge booth. Ben Lamont is putting out Polaris, which is a game about ice elves in the north of the world. Their civilization is crumbling as the world gets hotter and the winter of the world fades away. And it's this beautiful, tragic game with amazing art, excellent writing from what I've seen. Because I saw a playtest copy and didn't have a chance to playtest it, which really just makes me sad. And it's just an amazing game. I'm really, really psyched to play it. It has an interesting rotating DM that goes around the table. It's
neat.
I
think you talked about this a little bit at our last podcast. I don't recall. We recorded it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
we
did record that one 3 or 4 times. Once without the mic on, which made it very difficult for everyone to hear us.
Yeah, my bad.
What else is coming out that I'm into? The Mountain Witch is coming out, which is a fantastic samurai game. It is kind of been described as Akira Kurosawa meets Reservoir Dogs. I actually played it at last year's Dreamation, which is a little con in Jersey, and it was fantastic. Really, really a great game. I can't say enough nice things about it. Just it's a nice little one-shot in a bottle. Maybe not a one-shot. You could drag it out to 3 or... Not drag it out. It could probably be a little mini-campaign in a bottle, really. Really good stuff, in which you are all Ronin, going up to defeat the Mountain Witch, and there's a stat for trust, for how much you trust the players all around you. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Dogs in the Vineyard Revised, we've already talked about. Game by Matt Snyder called 9 Worlds, which came out last year, but he's doing a revision. So I'm kind of psyched to see the revision of 9 Worlds, which is kind of Greek god, space opera, aether ships. Neat stuff. And Matt Snyder did Dust Devils, which is the first indie RPG I ever bought. So
that was actually the first indie RPG I ever bought, too. So, bought at GenCon last year.
Good stuff. And Conspiracy of Shadows by Keith is coming out. It's already out as a revised edition, which we play in a monthly game for our pirate game.
Awesome.
And he's also coming out with a Conspiracy of Shadows companion, which will have a bunch of info about making up cities and tons of new little stuff that I think will be really neat and helpful. So I'll definitely be plocking down my hard-earned money for that.
I did think of 2 games that I am hoping are coming out of GenCon.
Oh,
I don't know if they are. Last year, I went to a D20 playtest of a Game of Thrones.
Right. The George R. R. Martin books.
Yeah, and they didn't really have an idea of when it was coming out, but I'm really hoping that that's going to be a Gen Con this year. I
believe Guardians of Order ran into some trouble, and I think another company is putting it out now. But I don't know if it's happening this Gen Con. We could run around on RPG.net after this and we can find out.
I would really love to see that there. And hopefully Army of Darkness. I would love to see that there as well. But who knows?
All right. And the other thing that's coming out is Burning Wheel is coming out with a secret project that's coming out at Gen Con. And that should be neat. I'm always looking forward to what Luke and his gang are going to be putting out. So that should be fun.
Well, Judd, we're about running out of time here.
So
is there any last words?
Yeah, we'll be heading out to Gen Con next week. There'll be 4 of us in the truck, and I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it all summer. It's kind of been my light at the end of the tunnel. It's been a brutal summer for me. I know it's been a hard summer for you. I
think it's been that way for everybody. It's my only vacation that I've had for the last probably 10 or 12 months. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Counting down the days.
I just can't wait to get in the car with everybody and just be on our way. That's really what I'm looking forward to.
One other thing before we take off here. I wanted to say that we've had some positive feedback about the podcast.
Absolutely.
Some people have mentioned how much they've enjoyed it.
Yep.
Including your mother, I believe.
Yeah, my mom tuned in when she kind of got the gist of it. So that was nice.
That's awesome.
And I think Jeff and I are very open to maybe having some commercials.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think that would be cool. So if you are out there and you have your game and you want to give us a little radio promo, as if this was a real live radio show, you want to give us we'll work something out with you. We'll figure it out. Maybe
that would be cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely put on an advertisement. I think that'd be a really neat way to break up the different segments.
There was actually also a person who contacted me from the podcast and said that it motivated them to play one of the local LARPs in this area.
Oh, that's cool.
So it pushed them, for that last step, and that's awesome. I was
how did they hear about it?
The podcast?
Yeah.
talked about a little bit on Ithaca Gamers, and then just through people here in town talked about it, said, hey, check it out. People that have listened to it said it's been a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
Try it.
The other thing that's happening at this GenCon, before we go, we're jamming a bunch of stuff in the last minutes. I'm running a bunch of games. I'm running Dogs in the Vineyard, and I'm running 2 sessions of the Dictionary of Mu, which is my Sorcerer mini supplement, and which will come out this year. And I'm also running a game, a Burning Wheel one-shot, definitely inspired by Luke's con scenarios. Jeff actually, I think, played in... Did you play in the Elf scenario, where the King in Grey?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
you played in that one-shot. I'm running a high court politics with elves. Should be good. Lots of grief, maybe a little bloodshed. We'll see. Some duels of wits.
Ooh.
Should be good. So it's good stuff. So I'm running 4 games. 2 are on the books, and I think they're already booked up. They're done. But
Wonderful.
2 of them are off the books. And if you go to the RPG.net and look at gaming gatherings, you should be able to find my thread started by Paka. And I think I still got some open spaces. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I think we need to sign off here, but let's sign off, and before we do that, though, actually, let's tell everybody how they can contact us if they want. You can contact me, Jeff, at TheLostGM, all one word, at IthacaGamers.com.
And you can contact me on the RPG.net boards. I sign under the name Paka. Is my handle, Paka, and you can just private mail me, give me an old PM, and let me know what you're thinking, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I don't have computer connection now, but I should have it within a week. So
great. Well, folks, thank you for listening to us.
We will see you after GenCon to let you know what a rockin' time we had. See you then.
Bye.